Midtown Redevelopment Board for Tuesday, June the 11th, 2013 at 6 p.m. May we have the roll call?
Ms. Benjamin, Ms. Simonette, Mr. McGee, Ms. Cato, Ms. Ford. Here. Ms. Hurd. Here. Mr. Williams.
Here.
Dr. Jameson. Here. Chairman Toole.
Here. Do we have a quorum?
You do.
All right. I'm going to ask if Mr. Williams, if you will lead us in our invocation, and Ms. Dr. Jameson, if you would be so kind as to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, we come thanking and praising you for this day, Lord, for your many blessings, Lord, for all that it's been, Lord, for keeping us, Lord, for blessing us over and over again, Lord. Lord, we ask that you come in this meeting, Lord, and be here, Lord, and bless us as we endeavor to do the work of this city, Lord, and help our thoughts to be yours. And Lord, help us to do the things that are wise for this city, Lord, that it might be a city that's fruitful and blesses all. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes? Yes. Are there any corrections to the minutes?
Yes.
Ms. Hurd?
Yes, my first correction is on page 6. I believe it is, whereby I made the motion and Dr. Jameson seconded it.
Eight.
Page 8.
Page 8.
Page
Yes.
8. Oh.
Yeah, board action.
Yes. I made the motion.
Okay.
Okay. Any other corrections? Hearing no further corrections, we will entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we accept the minutes for the meeting of May 14th with the corrections stated. All those in favor, let it be known by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Thank you all. And thank you for that correction, Mrs. Hurd. Now we have the staff reports. We do recognize that Mr. McGee has come. And our staff reports, the ComStat report, it's no real major changes have taken place from what I saw. I'm still very concerned about the sexual battery and things like that, especially the sexual battery on a child, because those increases and changes are tremendous to me. even though it's only like went from 2 to 5, still that is major.
2 to 6.
I'm sorry, 2 to 6, you're correct. But those are major. We appreciate what Captain Blanchard is trying to get done, and they're not here tonight, but one of the things that I would like to do, in fact, I'm going to be in touch with him about trying to implement exactly what Dr. Jameson mentioned last month, of putting together a letter to send to the churches to let them know some things to help with burglaries and car theft. And also we need to be mindful of things that are happening to our youth, because there's some things going on right now that just don't make sense. And the only way we can get our community straightened out is for us to take control of it. We can't depend on anyone else to do it but us. And we've got to step up and do that and get the community involved. One of the things that I've been really stressing is that other members of the community come out to the meetings to give us input. Other organizations to come out and give input, because anybody can stand back and throw stones. But diagnosing a problem is not what we need. We need a prognosis and a treatment. So those are the things that we need to be looking at as we go through the ComStat report and some of the other things that are going on in our neighborhood, because we all know the problem. It's kind of hard not to see the problem. But what are we going to do to fix the problem? Those are the things that we need to be mindful of as we go through.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Last evening, Captain Blanchett was at our neighborhood crime watch meeting, and we went through some of these very same statistics.
Use your mic, please.
Excuse me. Last evening, Captain Blanchett was at our neighborhood crime watch meeting, and we went over some of these very same statistics. And one of the things that I was thinking, that I was hoping is that we could somehow use the neighborhood crime watch in order to influence people to come to start getting involved politically. If they care enough to come out to a neighborhood crime watch meeting, that might be the first step toward getting them active in the wider community. And along with in our particular community, along with our churches, those will be two really good, avenues and vehicles in order to bring people together and activate people toward the political process, and having them to get involved with our children. But we have to be creative. We have to be creative and figure out ways to get to people, to get to large numbers of people at a particular time, so that we can disseminate information to them. One of the things that I found that was a very simple solution to a problem. Most crimes, when it comes to car thefts, are simply crimes of opportunity, where a thief looks into a window and sees a purse, a stereo, a wallet, and they just simply do the practical thing: bust the window, and take it out. Right. And so, just that simple thing, can really reduces crime in our neighborhoods. So we can use their vehicles there and their situations there, where we can disseminate information to large groups of people. We simply have to be proactive and go after those situations.
That's right. And those are the things that we need to put in place. Mr. Gross, is there anything that would stop us from being able to send out a letter like that to the churches in the Midtown area?
Well, it depends on what the letter says. This board really isn't the code enforcement arm for the city. And if you were stating something in terms of a general policy, then, I think that would be acceptable. But if you were to say that, you know, we're going to enforce this or that. I don't know if you can represent that fairly. I mean, you could send it out, but that wouldn't necessarily affect the enforcement at that point.
Okay.
Were you talking about a letter or, oh, I'm sorry, a letter, or what I was thinking about, if we had a permanent poster, you know, lock your cars, not code enforcement issues, but just simple, lock your cars, don't leave anything, and put it in the vestibule of the church, where every time, the main area they come in, and just every time you come and you waiting between it, you reading that. I think that a letter read, I don't think would be very effective. But if we had a just, you know, you can get a art student or a graphic art person to do a nice poster, get a teacher to make an assignment out of it, and just post it. And I was keep thinking about when we did the census and we were trying to get a lot of information out. One of the things we talked about is people don't really use the newspapers much anymore at bus stops and things like that, where people got to wait a long time. Putting a little poster, you know, something simple. I think what we're primarily saying that one of the ways to reduce crime here is to lock your car and to not leave things visible and things like that, but put them in places where people wait a while and read it over and over again, and then the church halls and then the community center, just simple posters that you can put it everywhere and leave it there. And just remind people to do those simple things, okay? Don't let your children, well, I don't think we need to say that, but maybe we do need to say that, is don't let your children be, you know, walk by themselves. That may address the sexual battery, I'm not sure, things. But if we had 4 basic things, don't do this, that may go a long way in reducing the crime rate. There may be a few other things.
And also, if we could, like I said, churches are places where lots of people congregate. And if we can get the pastors on board to help them to understand that, I know that you don't want to turn your service into one big public service announcement, but at the same time, there's information that, you know, this is really, really important, that actually affects the safety and, you know, and affects people economically. Somebody gets your wallet, somebody gets your purse, they have access to everything that, you know, and so it's important. And maybe we can get, you know, pastors on, you know, once a month, if they would just make a brief announcement in the back of the church or some flyers, and we're just talking about just public information types of things, not things where we're talking about codes and laws and things of that nature. Just public information kinds of things where we just disseminate information.
And then we can also be our own ambassadors in terms of everybody member of the church. That we decide one Sunday, everybody who go to church that day, we can call other friends to other church. These are the 5 things we are stressing in our community. On this Sunday, we want somebody to get up and talk about that. And you can find you know one person almost every church to get up and say, on this Sunday we're going to talk about this. Somebody, you know, going to talk about that, and just decide that we're going to be the ambassadors that send out this information in any form. You know, everybody belongs to different organizations and things. Just if we can get those 4 or 5 things written up, okay, and I was going to be ugly, just like a certain television station, you can tell that they read this bulletin because everybody used the same words. So, you know, we can start using the same words. Lock your car, don't leave things visible, blah, blah, this, that, and the other. And if you say it often enough, I think it would make a difference. We just need to find those things we need to talk about and decide that we're going to start spreading the word at every organization, every meeting we go to, and we can do it ourselves.
Okay, Ms. Hurt.
As I sit and listen, everything you're saying is good.
we have to be careful with churches because most churches don't make general announcements anymore as such. And then you're going to have to get permission to speak. I think it is a good idea to have churches involved, but when I see churches, I'm looking at the youth groups and those who are working with the children. As I sit up here now, we have a couple of young ladies who will be coming, I'm sure, before us, and it's all about saving our kids, taking back our kids. And organizations in the community, little football league, summer programs, all of this is important. Even Saturday at Juneteenth, they will have information from the health department, other social organizations that will be passing out papers and things emphasizing the safety in the community.
Okay, then, Dr. Jameson, would you spearhead putting the wording for something like that together?
Okay.
And
I get with Blanchett, and maybe he can give us the 5 basic things that we need to focus on for both the adults and the children, and
then we can get with Mr. Gross and make sure that it comes out correctly, so that it's not violating any laws. So we can get, because that's something I think could make a difference and get more community involvement.
I'll make a campaign. Campaign of, okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
Mr. Chair, if you just provide a copy of whatever you're talking about to Reed or Charles, I'm sure they'll get with me on that. That's
Okay.
the easiest way to do that. So.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. Next, we have code enforcement. Has anybody got anything dealing with code enforcement? Any questions about what we've got on here or anything of that nature?
Yes.
All right.
I'm not sure the address, but down on MLK, south of MLK, it might be 420. I don't think so. But anyway, on the corner of Cedar Street and MLK, the grocery store, the apartment building, and in the back. It
601.
is, no, it is magnificent. You should pass by there when you leave here early in the morning. It looks good.
420.
It
No,
is
it's 600 blocks.
600 block,
Okay.
I haven't
500.
been by there lately.
It, yes, this afternoon, it's really nice. It's painted, bars on the windows out front, and it blends in with the color scheme of the city. It's sort of light green or so, but it's really nice. It's really nice. And also, I'm still waiting to see that purple and green fade away from Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune
I know-
Boulevard.
Yeah, may I just jump in and tell you that staff's working on that one right now, so they've been addressing it. Hasn't changed yet, but
I understand
we're
it,
working with them to get that
has been
accomplished.
addressed.
Thank you.
420. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, referring to that, I am not aware, and I still might, I'm not aware of this color scheme that is in compliance. I heard Charles one time say pastel. Okay, where can I find that information? At what color you can and cannot paint your house?
That's
didn't
in the
know.
Land Development Code, isn't it?
So the Land Development Code, there's a design standard, but we go a little. It's a judgment call in trying to work with everyone on pastel and what's toned. We've also, when we have historic homes, and it's something, we'll make exceptions for something that fits into the historic color pattern that was a part of that. So if we can go back and we can establish some other color pattern that's going to give that the true identification of what it was at some time, we will consider that as well.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, if I'm going to paint my house, how do I know that there is a...
You don't, you raise a good point, because no one really knows. I wouldn't know coming into a community if I'm going to have to paint my house or not. The only way you're going to know is if from time to time we're just putting that information out there and saying, look, in redevelopment areas, before you pick up the paintbrush, give us a call. Typically, that's why we're out there scanning the neighborhood and trying to catch anybody on the front end on some of these. Most people that are painting contractors know to come in and check before, so that they get an approval letter.
Well, it took a while for this guy right here to paint his house, but nobody said anything until he finished it. So I know he's maybe a little upset about that, because he started off with one shade of green, and it stayed there a long time. Nobody said anything. And then he put the second shade on there, and the day he finished, almost, they tell him it's not a good color. So, I mean, I wouldn't... And it's brown pastel? So I don't know how you define pastel. I mean, a light tan. Not brown. I mean, a light tan. So...
And we can appreciate the way that is. One of the things also that we need to look at, though, is if the person didn't know and we begin to cite them, is that fair?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, apparently he didn't know.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, I'm sorry, Ms. Sir. Go ahead.
I would like to say, when they had the painting program in the city, free paint, grants and things like that, there was a color chart that basically they were going by.
We do have that, and but that's not the problem. It's really, I think, going back to the awareness issue, and I think it remains to be one of the difficulties of, like every other law we have, do I need to come in for a permit? Should I ask City Hall or not about these things? It's an educational issue for us.
Yeah.
So are they required to come get a permit? That was my question.
And the answer is not to paint your house, just an approval letter, which is a little different.
Right.
And that's why we have to...
You said you need an approval letter?
Yes, we give approval letters. You come in, you see Jeannie Tolley in our office in redevelopment, 671-8181. Same person that will also provide grant information, because we still will provide grants through that procedure for painting. If you have a large paint job and you want to participate with half the funds, we have matching funds for that.
So you need a permit to paint?
No.
Approval, that's what I mean, approval letter.
A letter of approval in redevelopment areas. Well,
Now, I've got a question on this one, even though I understand that's what we're supposed to do.
yes.
If there's no homeowners association, who makes that determination? If it's my property and I'm paying taxes, who decides what I can paint my house?
It is our design standard. That's in the Land Development Code, and I would say that it's one that typically we try to work with anybody, particularly after the fact when it happens. I think some of these come to our attention because people complain, oh my gosh, have you seen this thing? And it's polka dotted and what have you, okay? I'm just saying, that's different ways that it comes to our attention. I think I would say that we can always do a better job in getting that information out. When you talk about getting out a flyer, you talk about other ways to get it out through the different organizations. It might be one. We don't want to confuse things in a water bill or something where it goes to everybody, but it may be time again as we send out grant information. That's when we are usually talking about paint colors, and we used to do a lot more marketing because we had some enough funding behind it that we didn't have a problem handling the number of people requesting to participate. Now our funds are very low. We don't go out and we don't proactively market these programs as we used to do, where we would actually call people to meetings. We go to different meetings around the neighborhood so that we could tell them about these grant programs.
I think, as you earlier stated, that the issue is getting the information out there. But the other problem is, well, I would anticipate that when you get the information out there on a large scale, that Reverend Tooley's question is going to come up again and again and again and again and again. You know, who can tell me what color to, and is it fair that someone can tell me what color to paint my house? It's probably something that...
Sure. But the answer is right now, yes, we can.
Yeah. Even though it's in the land development code, it's probably, once people know that they just can't paint their house, you're probably going to be bombarded with a lot of calls, you know, and they probably won't ask it as polite as...
Well,
That's just the other side of telling someone, you know, any code that we have in here, that how you have to display your or windows if you're a commercial business. You start telling everyone you can only have so much of your window covered in posters and everything in it. It attracts quite a few callers. A lot of questions, but it's probably worth it from time to time, again, to help avoid running into this problem where no one knows.
couldn't we maybe help solve this by taking it through the city commissioners to pass a law or pass a statement law indicating that colors should be a certain color, houses, buildings? The city commissioner, will they have any?
The current requirement is something that was adopted by the city commission.
Right.
And that was, the land development.
Right.
Well, what I'm saying, couldn't that be broken down a little more so people can understand it, that certain colors are used? And then
We'll never get, well, it's as simple as this. Come into the office, or we'll go out to you, and Jeannie will work with people on a color palette. Typically, somebody's buying paint, gets paint chips.
in other words, you said where we need to do more marketing and put it out there. The News Journal and Focus and Hometown, we will be glad to accommodate the city, you know, in publishing these things with the money. In publishing it.
I want to be careful because
letting the citizen know what is going on.
I'd rather maybe take it a little bit differently, because if we do it over general media and broadcast, and you don't know if you're in a redevelopment area or not, we confuse a lot of people who all of a sudden think they're
They must
Yeah.
change.
having to do this. So I think we need to take the approach of it's one of those door-to-door things. And maybe it's time to maybe look at, you don't want to do this too often because of the expense, but there may be an opportunity, and I'm thinking the next time that we're having some kind of an event or where we want to notify people throughout Midtown about something we're doing, and then we send out one notice that includes that information that we think is pertinent, that would be helpful to them, including the 4 points on on some crime issues, preventative issues that you can take, and other things that we'd like to share with you, and that could all happen at once.
Talking points.
All right. All right. Now, the only redevelopment project that I see in the packet is Juneteenth. And we all know that that's coming up on Saturday. Everybody got your ticket, right? For your one ticket to the Juneteenth banquet, right?
Yes, everyone got their one ticket.
And if you need another, it's only $25. And Ms. Hurd has some available. All right.
Next.
But please, ma'am, please, sir, come out to the Juneteenth on the 15th of June, Saturday the 15th, from 11 till 7 p.m. And thank you. The banquet will be the 13th at 7 p.m. at the Midtown Cultural Arts Center. That's going to be hard to say when you used to say in Cypress Street Rec, isn't it? But please, ma'am, please, sir, come out and attend that. And it is an event that has great significance in the southern region of the United States, because that's how the slaves found out they were free. Even though the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, it wasn't until June that the slaves found out. And that's what that celebration is all about. Okay? And we have some public comments. And I'm going to first call...
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Could I, just on finishing up the reports, I have one other item, and I know you had mentioned this as a concern, was to get some information
Right.
on stormwater. Would you like me to address that before
Yes,
we move
please.
on?
And we'll
the public
come to
can be-
Ms. Powers.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is could you pass those along? I'll leave one here for you. What I'm handing out is some information that was provided to me by the utilities department, and what they are giving you is a list of stormwater projects that were completed since May 2009 in the Midtown area, the future stormwater projects. The completed projects for stormwater amounted to a little over $5 million, and those are all kind of detailed there for you. And then the ones in the future are a little over $27 million that is estimated right now to complete all the work that was proposed back when we had those floods in 2009. Now, I think that what everyone was very interested in is rains like we had a couple weeks ago. There was a lot of concern that we might be having some repeat. We actually had a very fast, hard rain. I mean, unlike 2009, a lot more rain came down a lot faster, and it filled the Nova Canal. And there was debris in there. There were issues. This is a state road, the Nova Canal is, and the maintenance of it, the canal. So the other two items you have in here is our reaction to that, both a correspondence to the state Florida DOT, and to also their first response back to us, which is really saying, okay, we understand there's a problem with some flooding that occurred because there was a breach of the Nova Canal, and because of that, and it's a state facility, we need to figure out some kind of a solution here, because the rest of the system stood up to the waters that came in, the rain, and so that system was working. The ponds, the pumps, everything else that's designed to handle the rain. So we were really looking at one particular problem that we don't have direct control of, but we want to make sure that the state works with us to address that problem. So want to make sure you had that in your hands. Unfortunately, I could not get a staff person here to address this directly with you, but I hope that that at least helps address some of the questions.
And it does help some. One of my concerns, though, is that Mr. Garcia basically talks about 11th Street, Reed Canal, and Rose Bay. And that's not where the problem was.
And I think I'll just say there's a disconnect till these two parties, the city and the state, are sitting down, which is what they're doing.
Okay.
We're going to persist on solving the problem, and the problem being down where South Street is extended, in that area in particular, as you go south of Orange Avenue towards Bevel. That is the area that we had the primary problem, and that was all observed that day. We called out DOT that day. We really tried to be proactive on it, but we could not stop the water.
Right.
It's just simply they had no ability to do that.
And now that pump station down on Bellevue, was it enacted I know you don't know whether it was enacted in time or not, but was it even enacted? That's one of the other concerns, because going past there, I don't remember hearing that pump run.
Okay, I can make that inquiry so we can get an answer back on that with the pump.
Okay. Thank you, but I do appreciate you at least getting us some information.
Yes, sir.
And I know that some things came up that we didn't have people coming in, but we do appreciate at least that much information. Board members, do you have anything to say in regard to that?
Again, I go back to a meeting that I was in yesterday, and that was a major concern of people in my neighborhood crime watch meeting. What was going on with that particular area, the Midtown area, in terms of the flooding, and this will give them a little more information as to what's happening. But then again, get more information. Now we're waiting on a further response. So, but thanks so much for the information.
Anytime, again, call anytime, and we'll try to get you that information.
All of that sounds good, but with the pumps out there and no workers out there midnight, whatever time it is, to make sure the pumps are on, it's not going to help us. So if we have maintenance or workers out there and they need a phone call, they need to be contacted, listen to the weather reports, and do what needs to be done.
And I can assure you that we do have people that are there to monitor the storm reports 24/7. It's not supposed to wait for a call.
Right.
We monitor that.
And one of my main things is the city itself has spent a lot of money to get things correct. So if there's a breach in the canal, I know it won't be as devastating, but I would hate to have the same problems that they had in New Orleans. Because that was a breach. And they knew it was going to breach. That's the problem. And we know that canal is going to run to the river. That's just the way it runs. And my major concern was that the Butts retention pond in the Butts area there, it did what it was supposed to do. The other retention ponds did what they were supposed to do. I drove the entire area before I went to church that day. But the problem was with the canal. And I think that we need to find some kind of way to get that water running back to the west rather than running to the east, because water is going to go with gravity. And the current of the river is going to pull the water toward it. So our engineers need to be mindful of that, and nothing against the state, but something needs to be done, and we may need to start making some calls to some state senators to find out what's going on. And I'm not saying that the city isn't doing their job. Don't get me wrong. The city's doing everything they can. But when the city is inside the county, which is inside the state, there's only so much they're going to listen to the city about. But the citizens begin to talk, they've got to listen. And that's some of the things that we can do to help the city, because we see what's happening. As you all read through here, and I just glanced through it very quickly. I looked at the letter that Mr. McLemore wrote, and I looked at Mr. Garcia's response, and it doesn't appear that they're talking about the same thing. Okay? So those are the things that we really need to help the city with. And we can let our citizens know that we need some input on how we can get this done. Because you'd be amazed at ideas that are out there. And you'd be amazed who has the ideas. Because a lot of times the people we expect to hear it come from are not the ones it's going to come from. So that's why I'm pleading with everyone, let's get everybody involved. Because everybody has some ideas and some input, and we can't just keep looking at our commissioner to do everything. She's not but one person, and she needs help. She's here to represent us. We need to give her some people to represent. Make sense? All right. But we do appreciate the input, Mr. Berger. Thank you so much for getting that information, because that is at least the process getting started. We're down to public comments, and I do know that Ms. Roundtree and Ms. Powers have some input for us, but they're coming. We have been concerned about some of the summer youth programs, and they've got some solution for that to try to help the city.
How you doing? I'm Katie Powers.
Good evening. My name is Lakeisha Roundtree.
We're with Operation Taking Back Our Kids. We developed a program that we feel as young minorities would help you guys with the community. I've been to plenty of your meetings, and I've listened to you guys say that you need the community help, you need the community's help, you need the community's help. But what you're not asking is the right questions from the community, I feel. It's been brought to my attention that the funding for most of these kids' summer camps have been taken away. There isn't a lot of summer camps right here, and let's per se in our Midtown area, there is no summer camp. So you're going to develop a problem, which is you have 4 projects right there, which a lot of your crime comes from those projects. These kids have nothing to do for the summer. You're going to look at A, they're going to be breaking in your houses or breaking into your vehicles. B, they're either going to be kidnapped, dead, or somewhere around here you can't find missing. Okay, so we developed a program that we've come up with, and I'm going to let Ms. Roundtree give you the basic information.
Okay. The foundation of our program is the children. As you see, our shirts, Operation Take Back Our Kids. As we sat in this meeting, we heard a lot of conversation about the crime rate. If you look at the statistics, the age of crime is dropping dramatically every day. It's getting lower and lower. We are seeing children as young as 9, 10, 11, and 12 committing serious crimes in our area. And up until now, the solution has been to put them in a detention center. You know, they get in trouble in our community, we want to lock them up. They get in trouble in school, we want to kick them out. Well, we believe that it's time for us to start standing up and take back our kids. This is pretty much a diversion program, you could call it, because we live in the Midtown area. So we see firsthand what is going on. There have been people who have approached us and said, yes, there are programs in your area. And that is true. We are not taking anything away from what the city is doing. We believe that the city is doing their best, but we also believe that better can be accomplished. And that's where we come in to help out in whatever way that we can. We developed this program directly for these children in the Midtown areas, because these are the children who are, like she said, breaking into your cars, breaking into your houses, breaking into your businesses. And we believe that if we redirect them with the appropriate activities and guidance, then we could change the crime rate statistics for our area. As you see in front of you, there's a program outline telling you exactly what we are going to do. It's going to start with our summer camp, which is due to kick off on Monday. Through our summer camp, it's not the regular city-sponsored summer camp, as you will see on our calendar. Our summer camp does not only involve fun activities for the kids, but it also involves workshops on literacy, computer literacy, social skills, leadership, teamwork, the characteristics that we believe our youth need in order to be able to change the direction that their lives are going in. The problem is a lack of guidance. Yes, we have school teachers and yes, we have counselors, but during the summer, let's just be honest, over 80% of these kids have no guidance. And that's where they're going wrong. They're going down the wrong path. If you'll turn to page 2, you'll see that the list provided on the Volusia County website of free meal programs that are provided for our county. There are none for our area. So it's, like I said earlier, we're not taking away from what the city is doing. We think that it is spectacular that they want to feed our children, but they're not feeding our children. They're not feeding the ones in our Midtown area, the ones who need it the most.
The third page gives you a demographic area of the locations that they do have food drops in. The area where you see the little boy crying is Midtown's area.
If you skip to page 4, you will see a list of the county summer camps. Yes, there are 2 that are pretty much in walking distance, you could say. There's one on Dunn Avenue at Palm Terrace, and there's another one on Peninsula Drive over on Beachside.
We do have the boys and girls, which would be located at the Dickinson Center, and also you do have the kids that would be at PAL. But for me, going around in my Midtown area, speaking with some of the parents, they say their fees are too high. They cannot afford that. A lot of these parents around here, funding is
Low.
very low.
Low.
You
Very
know,
minimum.
so we've come up with a program to where I work with the One Stop Career Center with Ms. Vicki Shannon. Ms. Vicki Shannon is willing to take her caseload of kids who are on there, and we're going to do 25 kids under sponsorship, which is coming from most of our Midtown area, small businesses right there in Midtown who are willing to sponsor and donate to these kids. They have their sponsorship letters. They're here to sponsor. I have Mr. T from Cream and Things. He's also one of our sponsors. We have it low for a purpose, and that's to make sure every child gets there. It's $35 a week. If you're on scholarship, of course, there's no sponsorship, there's no fees. Everything is completely paid for. It's $35 per week, or you can make an initial payment of $250. Everything else is basically coming out of me and her pocket. We're asking the community for no fundings at all. The only thing that we are coming to you today to ask for is a place to house these 100 kids. We have no place that we can actually go to and say, okay, we can put these 100 kids here and take them out of y'all streets and put these 100 kids here with the shelter over their head and still get them the responsibilities, the social network, and everything that we need. We have the One Stop Career Center. We have the NAACP. I have a lot of speakers to come from different places to help the kids on being responsible, being mature, how to sit back and let things, not say fly over their head, but to actually understand things in life. A lot of kids don't understand what Juneteenth is for, because I've asked these kids in our neighborhood, why do we have Juneteenth? All the kids, oh no, it's a party.
No, it's something.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
They don't understand a lot of different things, and that's coming from, I can't say lack from their parents, but it's also lack of their community. Because I remember when I was growing up, my next door neighbor whooped me because I didn't do something right. Nowadays, we're so scared to put fear in our kids that we let our kids do anything that they want to do. But if there's someone that can stand and put that back into those kids, then I feel like we can get a little bit more control than what we do have now. Especially these kids that are, yes ma'am.
What you're saying is that you have this complete program laid out and funded, but you don't have a place.
Yes, ma'am. We have the complete support of the Midtown area. Several of
You two did this.
Yes, ma'am. Several of the small businesses have already agreed to sponsor at least one or more children. We have the sponsorship. We have the cash. We just don't have a place to put them, which is why, if you really look back, why they're in the situation that they're in. It's not because they didn't have a place. It's just because they do. They have the Dickerson Center. It's right there in our community, true enough. But when you go to the Dickerson Center, you don't see the kids. You see a whole lot of grown people because the kids go up there and they feel like, what am I going to do up here? Other than go in the weight room or go play basketball in the gym. You know, after a couple of times, that gets a little old. They're looking for somebody to guide them and to lead them, but no one's stepping up to do it. So that's why we stepped up, because these are our kids. They are our future. They are our tomorrow. And as members of the community, we see these kids as our own. So we have no choice but to take them back.
Is there any? Have you seen any place around that might work for you? Any building? Got any place in mind?
We've had a church offer us a spot to house our kids, but they can only house 50 of our kids.
Those are going to be my next question. How many children are you anticipating on needing to house? 100.
25 under scholarship, 75 will have to be cared for by their parents. We've set a whole schedule up for these kids to make sure every minute of the day that they're busy. From 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock in the morning, they will be doing tutoring. I have sponsors, people coming from Bethune-Cookman College who actually need their community hours that will put their community hours in. I've already gotten approval from the young lady at Bethune-Cookman College to be able to give them their community hours if they stand forth to help us. They're going to do the tutoring with the kids from 8 to 10. If I feel personally, summer is not all about fun, because you still have to keep your education going. If I let you play the whole summer, when you get back to school, you're not going to know anything. So to me, it's 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., there will be tutoring for all the kids, and their lowest, whatever their report card reads, we'll take their last scores from whatever their last report card is, and that's what the kids will get tutored on.
That would be the area.
Could you divide it? Okay, accept the church's offer and maybe divide up the kids
No, ma'am.
by group?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Our program is designed to keep all of the kids together.
Together.
If you look at our front copy, it says one voice, one child, one community, one family. We must not become tired of doing good. We will receive our harvest of eternal life at the right time if we do not give up. I feel as if we split these kids up, we're splitting up things that each child needs to learn together. Okay?
Question, hypothetically, in this short period of time, let's say that's not doable, and you've got people that have doors that are ready to open their doors, are you going to sacrifice the entire program?
No, sir.
Okay, that's the question, because one of the things that is, especially when you have a small window of time, sometimes you have to back up and say, okay, what are we willing to sacrifice? Because there might be churches, and this is something that I would throw out to my church, but for many organizations and for some buildings, when it comes to meeting fire code, and like I said, remember you're talking about a short period of time. Sometimes that might be difficult to accomplish, and you might have to. That's just a thought. So be thinking in those terms of what you're going to do in the event that somebody says, "Hey, I can house, but I only got 50."
And if you could turn to the calendar, page 5, you'll see on various spaces it says SIMD dance. SIMD stands for Stepping Into My Destiny. It is a dance program catered directly for taking back our kids. During this dance program, we have 4 volunteers from local area churches who will come in and teach the children praise dance, step, mime dance, as well as a fast and upbeat song. It will all be age appropriate, of course, but it's just another venue to capture them in.
Wow. Seems like you all thought about a lot of stuff.
This is amazing.
Yeah, you
You know
all
where I
answered.
got this from? Our kids.
Our kids.
I'm in our community every single day. I go to each store in our community.
Every
I
day.
spend time in my community.
We talk to the kids.
I talk to the kids. All of the kids know me in the neighborhood as Auntie Lucky.
Wow.
Okay. I hold that key, and I feel like a lot of us in our community hold that key, but a lot of people are scared to come up. I'm 31. I'm about to be 31 years old. She's only 23. So I feel like if another young adult knows what the younger adults want, it's not that to say you guys are older or anything. Or,
Of course not.
of course.
Never say
But
I could be
we're
31.
young enough to understand what these kids are looking for and what they want. And by us knowing what they want, we can be able to give that to those kids. Just as simple as just say an ice cream truck. We have none. Why? These kids look forward to that. Ooh, the ice cream man. I know when you was 5 years old, you was the first one at the ice cream truck.
Take it on.
I was. How come we don't have that in Midtown? It's the little things that the people are taking out of Midtown that are for these kids that have been taken away. Our job as your youth, is to come in and give that back. I was watching a movie, I'm not going to call any names, but at the end of the movie, they asked a certain person, what are you going to do to Daytona Beach when you get there? How are you going to change Daytona Beach? His words was, I'm going to squeeze the life out of it. Okay? He did that. When they came to Daytona, they took our youth. They gave one kid from 819 56 years. That's our youth. I'm trying to get that back as being one of our youth.
And that's another reason why we want to keep them together. We don't want to divide or separate them because there's already been so much division within our community. It's time for us to come together and stand strong as one.
I have male mentoring groups, which is run by some of our Mason brothers. They have come together and made a male mentoring group, which we've also incorporated in here as well. I have a few ladies that I'm trying to get with now with the Eastern Seals to try to incorporate them as well for our young ladies, just to show our young ladies how to develop to be a lady. A lot of kids in their household, parents are not standing to that ground showing them how to be a man or how to be a woman. It's just whatever you see is whatever you get. This is our standing point to say, okay, you don't have to be there anymore. No parents too good, we're here.
Okay, just,
Okay.
Ms. Hurd.
Question, do you have any idea of where you would like for this program to be held?
Anywhere inside of Midtown. I wanted to make sure, I don't care if the parents don't have transportation, I will provide transportation, or if the kids can walk to that location. That way the parents don't have to worry about where they're going to send their child. I know a lot of parents that go to work right now probably leave their 14-year-old home with their 4-year-old child, which is unacceptable. And that's because there is no summer camps affordable enough for them to be able to put their kids, or you don't have a job.
I asked that question because I understand where you're coming from, being a counselor for X number of years and a mentor still in the neighborhood. And I had even spoken to Mr. Bryant several times. We talked about it. I know it's not the time now, but even the building on the corner of Bellevue and MLK, I have spoken to Mr. Bryant and others. The city, we need a building on that end of
The
MLK.
Rosemary Bryant Center has been donated to us for our dance program.
Okay, yes, sir.
What's wrong with the Dickinson Center? She's
Uh,
already up there, and they turned her down. They told her she can't go back up there because of
The
Hang
why?
on, come up to the mic, bro, and we need to, we're taping this, and it's
Your
also
name?
going on the television.
My name is Troy Jackson.
Your address?
Address.
Your address.
Address 243 South MLK, Cream and Things. She was already up there with the dance group at the Dickinson Center. And that lady from DBCC, what's her name?
Dr. Ursula Scott.
Dr. Ursula Scott. She gave me a bad taste in my mouth when I first met her. But she made it bad for her at Dickinson Center. So, I don't know why she can't continue to go.
She was mentoring little girls, helping them to dance.
Right.
She was told to leave the Dickinson Center because she was a convicted felon. There is nowhere in the bylaws that states being a convicted felon, you cannot have any dealings with the child unless it has a charge to do with the child. There is no charge to do with the child.
And during the time I had 23 girls in my program, it was a 6-week dance program. 4 weeks into that 6-week program is when we were evicted from the Dickinson Center community. From the Dickinson Center.
They wanted to charge you how much? How much they wanted to charge you?
Almost $400.
And another church wanted to charge her $200, and another one charged $300.
I feel like if we're giving back to our community, I understand everyone has bills, everyone has something, but if we're coming together and all we want is an hour of your time at your church or at your building, we're giving back to these kids. It's not like we're taking or we're having a party or anything like that. It's we're giving to these kids. If you guys are so much for the community and for the kids, I would say, hey, go ahead. They can go in there for an hour once a week or whatever. If the building's not being used at that time, you're not making any money off of it anyway. Why not let them go in there and let them dance? They're taking the kids off of the streets, they're mentoring it, and they're giving them more emotional distress.
I think at this point you're kind of preaching to the choir. Well, to me,
Yeah.
I think I'm going street by street by street by street and trying to think of an empty place. And Shiloh, old Shiloh, is but that's not city owned. The problem is at this late stage, I just can't think of any building that could accommodate 100 people. And first you got to start off with city owned because that's the quickest turnaround. Well, not this city. But anyway, in terms of all the stuff if you had any idea, the Dickinson now has the Y. That's a done deal. The Y.
The Y.
Boys and girls.
The Y moved
The Boys and
in.
Girls.
I'm
Girls and
sorry.
Girls Club.
They moved in the other day.
Yeah.
Okay, because this would have been perfect when we first heard there was nothing at the Dickinson Center. This would have been perfect, but then we heard that the Boys and Girls moving in. I cannot think of any building that will accommodate you Monday. You see what I mean?
They're utilizing the whole facility?
Well, you got to understand there are codes and there are codes that limit the amount of people that you can have per square footage.
Right.
And you might want to do research and find out everything that's happening within a facility. And sometimes that explains stuff that you don't see on the surface. But I go back to the fact that we're talking about Monday. And sometimes when you close a window and you say, we're not going to do this, and we're not going to do that, we're not going to split these kids, or we're not going to do this, sometimes you price yourself right out of a market. And I understand the attempt. But you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You see what I'm saying, so to speak? You can't sacrifice a whole program because of a particular thing that might not be that important in the beginning. The issue is to get these kids in front of people that can mentor them and get information to them and to affect their lives. The issue, that's something that you would like to have in a perfect world. But we all know this world ain't perfect. So I don't know what it is that specifically you're asking, and this is just me, specifically what it is that you might be asking.
At this point, I hear exactly what you're saying. It's late in the game and everything. And Zone 6 Commissioner is sitting in the back. And maybe she can come up and just tell us the next step for you all to take. Because whatever happens, it will have to go through the commissioners. So
Let me ask you a question.
Ms.
Are you
Reed?
guaranteed 100 kids? You know you got 100 kids?
We actually have more than 100 who are currently in need. It's just that we set the cap at saying we will accept 100 kids because of our volunteer load. We understand that that's how many kids that we can actually handle.
We have over 200 applications.
We have our liability insurance as well as our accident waivers.
Oh my goodness.
Ms. Reed, I'm sorry to call you on the spot like that, but I just,
Now, before Commissioner
Thank you.
comes, I know for a fact that they've got the liability insurance, they've got the accident waivers. I know 2 different locations that it's not going to be enough room for them to do it. I know that I know of, personally, at least 15 students that want to be involved in the program. So it's not a problem of getting the people, it's getting a location. If there was any way, if something had been done with the Harris building, the place where Harris's food store was, right, that would have been a perfect place for them. But once again, there's a process that we have to go through. And Madam Commissioner, we'll let you address this.
This is
You're
just our first
fantastic.
time, so
You are
even by being our
amazing.
first time, if we can't get exactly what we're looking for now, this is not our first time. This will not be
It
our
won't be our
last.
last.
This will continue every single year, and not only that, we have a program for after-school program as well called No Parents Who Do It.
Which is what I think Mr. Williams is saying, that if you're willing to drop it down to the 50 and serve those 50 and get it started, because you're talking Monday and today is Tuesday.
Right, yes, ma'am.
In regards to the Harris building, it's privately owned and it's for sale. It's not city property.
I know.
In fact, I know someone.
I know.
I don't know if everybody.
City. I
I'm
know.
just telling everybody.
it's for sale.
It's for sale. So, whatever. Need to look into it. In regards to your program, have you talked to Volusia school system, Volusia County school system,
No, ma'am.
to see if perhaps you could use Turie Small?
No, ma'am. I went to Bethune-Cookman to try to use theirs, but they're under construction. The lady who writes the grants actually gave us the approval to let us know that this program, she's going to give me an ideal test to give all the kids when they come into the summer program and give us a test to give them once they leave. If we help 1 out of every 5 of those kids, she will personally write us a grant through Bethune-Cookman College to take this nationwide.
Now, I think you said out of the 100 kids, 75 the parents are paying for and 25 are going to be sponsored.
Yes, ma'am.
Have the parents paid?
Yes, no, not all of them. Not all of them. No.
Okay. And let me just ask a couple of more questions since I'm down here and we're asking questions. When you're dealing with children, everyone that's going to be dealing with these kids, have they gone through the process of
Background check?
Yes, all of
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
Okay, very good.
Most
I don't have access to this report. The board does. Do you have one for me?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Thank you.
Also, just to give you an idea, at the end of our summer camp, we have provided 100 book bags with all school supplies in it, 2 outfits, a pack of underwear, and a pack of socks. Not only that, but we came in additional with Doghouse, the Bell Bonds. He's going to purchase 100 book bags, as well as we're going to double up and purchase another 100 book bags, just to have 200 book bag giveaway after summer camp. For those who did not attend our summer camp, they will still be able to receive their book bags and stuff. I already know that the community does theirs already at the Dickinson Center, but this is something that the community has put together for our kids.
Okay, yeah, that's the Bears backpack giveaway.
It would be a travesty if this couldn't happen.
Yeah. You know, in your planning, location should have been one of the first things that we looked into.
Well, to be honest with you, I just learned myself that there was no summer camps. So by me learning...
No, we're not going to say there are no summer camps.
Well,
we can't accommodate all students.
Right.
And or, as you stated
Right.
earlier, the parents can't afford it. But the program at Midtown, there's a payment plan. And Boys and Girls Club is cheaper than what you're saying, and they're willing to support more of our children now that they have a larger location.
Right, but I didn't have any of that information. My information was coming strictly from someone that said, you know, I can't find any summer camps for my child. So I went to hearing it, I developed something on my own. Even if there is summer camps going, I'm still going to develop.
So tell me, what are your backgrounds that you've developed this or that you want to help with the children? Because I don't know you all.
With me personally, I grew up from a single parent household. You know, I didn't have anybody there for me who I could really go to. But there was a community center about 2 blocks from my house.
Are you a native of this area?
No, ma'am. I was born in Gainesville, Florida. I moved to Daytona Beach about 7 years ago.
Okay.
But during that time, there were programs that were there for me to keep me, you know, busy and active and off the streets. There was tutoring that was offered. And for me, that was a life changer. It changed my life to the point where now I'm getting ready to graduate with my first bachelor's.
Okay,
you know, from Daytona State.
Okay. And? Yeah.
Well, I grew up in Ormond Beach. My last name is Powers, so of course.
Related to Betty?
That's my aunt.
Okay.
I was in and out of foster care. I understand how it feels to not have, not want, need, and I have the feeling that a lot of these kids grew up with me brokenhearted. By me, I just have love. I have a passion for kids because of how I grew up. In and out of foster care, running away from each foster home.
So you understand.
I had no control. I understand what these kids are going through. It's been times where I couldn't eat unless I went to school. That wasn't the parents' fault. That was mine because I was running away and being mischievous.
What if you found 2 churches and ran the program simultaneously?
I would love it.
She'd be at one and I'd be at the other.
Exactly.
That's something to think about. Are you willing to tell us who the first church is that extended the offer?
The first one.
Yeah, the only
The
one.
pastor is off of WPUL.
Yeah, Prophetess Ford and Pastor Ford
Ford and where's his church?
at the Choice Worship Center,
It's located
the Mormon Realty Building.
in the Mormon Realty Building.
Oh, yeah, that's small.
Oh, that's tiny.
It's very small.
Tiny.
It's very tiny.
And that
If
was
you can
one
get
of the
25 kids
issues
in there.
because what she explained to us was that it's constantly set up for their church service.
It's not
So
set
in
up.
order for us to be able to do anything, you know, we might be able to get 20, 25 kids in there, if that.
The location, the people who've offered the locations are just not equipped for even, let's say, 40 kids.
And you know,
Could you
What are they doing with the old Shiloh?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Have you spoken with them at all?
no ma'am.
Because it's upstairs and downstairs.
That might do it.
Right.
And then it wouldn't be their new facility.
My first
Would they-
thing was to bring it to you. You are Midtown.
Thank you.
We are working for Midtown, with Midtown, so my thing was to bring it in front of Midtown before I dished it to anyone, to let Midtown know that you do have people in your community that is backing you.
And we appreciate that.
Well, I know one person. They
If,
don't have a minister right now in Shiloh, do they?
no, they don't.
But we do have leadership. I am a bona fide member of Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church, and if you want to talk to me afterwards, I will give you the people names that will assist you, tell you which way to go.
Mr. Williams?
I've got a question. As a board, where do we go from here in terms of this? Is this something that has to go before the commission? Where are
Basically,
it's
basically, as a board, she's presenting information to
Right.
us. I was going to ask, is there a way that the board can say that we have observed this and we kind of are backing it to make a difference in our community? Would the board have any legal problems with doing that?
No, I mean, you're basically talking about supporting their efforts. I don't know if you're talking about making a more specific motion to recommend that the commission assign them some space or something like that, but you're an advisory board. You can do that sort of thing.
Okay.
I do think that we need to take, and I want you to understand that I'm floored. Honestly, I'm floored. It seems like y'all, I don't know who y'all been talking to, but it seems like y'all dotted every I and crossed every T, and somebody knows what they're doing. And so I want you to understand that I'm totally in support, but I think we have to take me personally, take a little more time and make sure that we're looking over everything, and that's personally. And I know that we have a limited amount of time, and that's why this is so sad, It said we're talking about something that has to be done by Monday.
It doesn't have to all per se be done by Monday. That's just
Excellent.
an expected date that we've come up with. I had to be honest with you, I had to give you a date. I had to give you something.
I got you.
So
Makes sense.
That's the date that we put on there.
Okay.
And what I'm going to suggest is that you get with Ms. Hurd after the meeting, and she can give you the information of who to contact to see about using the old building at Shiloh. Commissioner, do you see any?
I'll give them my business card as well and see what I can do.
Thank you. Thank you, because they've done a great work.
Great job. Fantastic.
And just so that you know, the dance program that she's talking about has produced quite a few good young ladies in dance, liturgical dance, praise dance, even tap dance and stuff like that. Okay.
Chair,
I'm
and it's
for
not
it.
just for the young ladies. I've seen men, because I just
That's
went to an
right.
event this weekend and saw some young men do some mind dancing. That was really, it was fantastic to see our young men get out there, because normally we don't, in our culture, sometimes think that's girly. But it was really interesting to see those young men get in there, and they had an older guy with these younger guys, and I mean, they really did a great job. I will make some phone calls as well. And see what we could do.
And I'll do likewise. I'm Florida. I got a music career. I'm trying to get off the ground. I need y'all to. I'm serious. I need y'all to work for me.
Just start your YouTube, whatever TV you're on, what your band name is, just put your band TV, all of your videos, put it on one website so they can see all your uploads.
Oh, and by the way, Mr. Williams, she does all that.
And by the way, just outside of this, ProSource Multimedia Marketing.
Wow.
And Beyond the
And she
Veil
look like
Ministries
she's 18
Incorporated.
years old.
I do have one more question. How do we contact you all,
Their
Mr.
num-
Tooley?
Their numbers.
Their numbers, everything.
Inside there, it's a card, I gave you a.
Oh, this card, okay.
itself,
I'm
and then I
sorry.
also gave a flyer.
Thank you. Okay.
And we can be reached at either of those numbers.
We are-
Okay, thank you.
I'm very proud
I
of you.
am.
Thank
I'm
you.
excited
If you all
for
would
you.
like to check out our website to see what the dance program has already accomplished, it's facebook.com/stepping into my destiny. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's an example of seeing a problem and taking the initiative to fix it. That's what we need. And I want to compliment them for doing a great job, even though there were roadblocks all over the place for them. Still, they continued, and we're going to see this come into fruition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any other public comments? I just said, any other public comment?
What time the game start?
All that talking you were doing before.
Almost talked too much. You know, I'm talking about a few minutes ago.
Okay, Marjorie Johnson, 122 South Street. I spoke with these two people on the coming in outside. I said my name, Marjorie Johnson, 122 South Peach. I spoke with the young people when they was coming. I'm very impressed with their program, Operation Taking Back Our Kids. I think this is a wonderful program and you're to be commended. But I did inform them when they talked about the lunch program and the breakfast program, because I'm on the board at the county, and I went to a meeting today, and I do have a list of all of the free lunch programs that they will be giving out at the county level. So I'm going to give them that list so they can spread the word, because that food is free at all those places, breakfast and lunch, and it will be going on for some time, and they need to take that information and spread it through the community. But I'm here tonight to address some other issues that I'm concerned about, and I have spoken out at city commission meetings regarding this. So I'm here tonight to speak to you, Midtown, because we have a lot of, in our area, blanket area here, we have all these boards, and they've been sitting here for many years, and I haven't seen a whole lot of progress. When I drive down Martin Luther King, I am really, really, really sad when I look around and see that that street has not been paved after all these years. And I have come before this commission time after time and after time and addressed this before the commission, only to blank ears. When I spoke out before in my community, and I spoke about the fact that, and there's an article in the front page of the Daytona Times, if you read it, and that article is very correct. I have several of them in my car, and I'm spreading them out throughout the community because that article is true. We have our taxpayers' dollars that we have been spending in our community for many years, and when I moved in my house on Keith Street, I was blessed and highly favored because I always had sidewalks on both sides of the street. I lived in South Street on both sides, sidewalks. I moved to Keach, 1969, raised 2 children, got them off and on their own, doing very well. And I had sidewalks, but I got up before this commission and advocated that they do something. The people thought I was talking to the wind. And then boom, one day, I looked in my paper and I saw it $9 million was being allocated. In the first place, they started was on Magnolia Avenue. And then they went to my street, Keach, and resurfaced the whole road. But they didn't go all the way down there by South Street. They still need their part done. And I came before this commission and spoke out for speed bumps. And that was done. So I like to say that there is still space and room for more improvement. They bragged in here one night that they had spent $40 million. Well, that's nothing compared to what they owe us. And the millions of dollars that they're spending on B Street, that they're spending at the Museum of Arts and Science, that they have put in the pier, over $16 million. All of this money that has been spent, I feel that our area has been deprived. And this is why I continue to speak out. And then the other night, Yellowland made a statement about it, and Patrick made one, and Harper wrote articles in the paper about it. Freedom of speech. Because if I'm speaking out about Midtown, Harper does, Henry represents Zone 5. He does not have a Martin Luther King over there that needs to be paved. And Martin Luther King is named after one of our heroic icons. There is no reason when they got that $9 million, part of that money should have been spent to pay Martin Luther King. So when I come before them and ask them, when are you going to pave this road? When are you going to pave it? And you see that road all the time, Martin. You pass it. And it is in deplorable condition. And with all these boards, I've never served on any city boards, but I'm on 3 boards now with the county. All of these are $1 million boards that I'm over budgets, including the bridge. I'm on that board and the Children and Services board. And this is why I knew about the food that they're giving out, because I went to that meeting today, the Human Services Board. These are distributed millions of dollars throughout our community. We have people that come before us and speak also. And then we decide where that money goes. We give money to the Boys and Girls Club. And so they need to know about this food so that they can let others know about it, because even though they say there is nothing for food, there is a program set up by the county of food to feed these youth. So I will share that information with them. But I would like to see this board be more outspoken as far as you sitting here, not just you, all the others that came before you. And Martin Luther King was never paid. I don't serve on any of these boards because I want to serve on a board where I can see something happen and make something happen. So, boards are fine, but when I see progress, and they said it many, many years ago, GE said it, progress is our most important product. And when you are a taxpayer like I am, I have been paying taxes in my home since 1969. I purchased a home there on Keach. When I got up and told them, I want to see some of my taxpayers' dollars reinvested in my community, and I'm tired of you taking from the needy. Reed was here to give to the greedy. I want some of it to come back to my community, and I want it to happen now. Well, they did do something about it. They put $9 million. But that's just a drop in the bucket. So when you're bragging that you put $40 million, And the city manager said that is nothing compared to what you owe us. There's a man that went on the radio and addressed this. He's in your community. Everybody know him, Neil Harrington. He is prominent in the community. He was on the Big John show and 2 other shows. And he told them, and they said, I heard Big John say, Margie got him $9 million. She got roads paved on Magnolia and these other places. Help get.
Please.
Advocated for.
Okay.
That $9 million. Big John said that because he knew it, because he watches the city commission meeting. And Neil Harrington said that's nothing compared to what they owe them. Anybody knows that the squeaky wheel gets the oil. A lot of people said in this community for many years, they didn't advocate for anything. Either you're part of the solution or you're part of the problem. And these roads are not going to get paved unless we get people to get up and speak out. So I would like for this board to do more as far as trying to get Martin Luther King paved. Some more sidewalks in our community, they are desperately needed. Let's make something happen. Thank you.
You have a wonderful day. Board comments.
You too, Chairman.
Board comments.
Got another meeting after 10, but wow, this meeting was an eye opener for me. I'm a pretty tough dude to impress, and I was really floored tonight by these young ladies and their presentation. You dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's, and you did your homework. And that's a glaring example of what we need to be doing as a community. And once all the work has been done, and they've done everything the way that they're supposed to have done it, I think it's our responsibility to try and stand behind them. And what they become is they become the example, and not only the example, they become the inspiration, and they become the catalyst for the next dream. And I think that we need to do whatever we can. Once someone has done what they're supposed to do, whatever we can to support it.
All right. Mr. McGee, use your mic.
Okay. I have been watching the progress of the beautification of Granada Boulevard, and that is a state highway, and I'm seeing it come together and become a very attractive piece of the overall community. And it is beyond me why this board, the people who are interested in this community, never have an input in how the design development is put together on these thoroughfares. We're going to end up with this same sort of second-rate portion of the I have trouble with language anymore, so forgive me. But we're going to end up with the same second-rate appearing piece of the gateway to the city, and we're going to be assigned the problem of it. I mean, it stops right at the park there, and continues until they get downtown, and they haven't started spending the money on. They haven't started spending the money yet that's allocated, but they were so slow the first time around that we couldn't do the whole project because prices went up so much. As the project was constantly delayed. Now, it's been delayed so long now, you wonder if we have any money left. It's just disappointing. That's all I have to say.
All right. Dr. Jameson.
I'm I'm going to ask. We did not have the workshop, and I'm hoping that we still have it. But I'm going to ask, if possible, in August, that we have agendaed the discussion of CRA. Of course, it was some of the information in that article in the Dayton Time caused me a lot of questions about various things. So I would like us to discuss that publicly in the August, not July, August agenda, so I can ask questions that maybe some other people might have too, and we get a clearer understanding of all of that. The second thing is, just like Mr. Williams, I'm in awe of these young ladies. And when you talk to Ms. Hurd, I'm going to talk to you after the meeting too. One of the things that I think that I did teach craft at Dickerson Center about 2 days, but one of the things I think girls and guys don't know how to do now is sew. Yes. And I got a little skills in that. And I would volunteer to do that, if nothing but hem. Because how many of you know how to hem your own pants? None of you.
That's not true.
Extra volunteers to help with anything different. Like I stated, the one-stop person is going to work with our kids from 14 to 17 on how to do resumes, how to fill out job applications, how to fill out their college. The One-Stop Career Center is going to work with our kids that's between the ages of 14 and 17 on how to be successful, the same way we would go into the One-Stop Career Center and sit there and get the packet on how to be successful, on how to fill out job applications, how to dress for a job interview, what questions that are being asked at job interviews, how to answer those questions. Those kids will learn those basic tools and trades.
I think how to dress, period, might be one of the topics too.
We ain't supposed to be talking back
we have
and
a
forth like
workshop
that.
entitled.
But
This is
anyway,
board
I'm
comments.
just and the other thing too is I think one of the issues we need to look at too, I think in Midtown, is the city's programs seem to be, how should I say, they're not, the fees are not conducive to the potential users. And what we're finding is we're going to have a lot of pretty buildings around this city with no one in it. And primary is because the fees, people are not willing to pay the fees that they are that the city is doing, and it doesn't make any sense to me. And you know can be like AT&T, Bright House, the rest of them. You start small and then you work your way up. But right now, if I go by the Cypress Street Center all the time, except for basketball, there is no one in there using that building. Same thing is going to happen at the Yvonne Golden Scarlett Golden facility. We need to do something about the fee rates that the city is charging for use, and also the amount of what the vendors have to go through in order to become a vendor too. And I think that's one of our problems, that we don't have community centers because people can't afford a community center. And I'm looking forward to see each and every one of you at the June 10th banquet.
All right. Ms. Ford.
I beg your pardon? I'm trying to get one myself.
It was a very great eye-opener this evening, not feeling well coming in today. But as an educator, and I work in the system, in the school system, I'm really impressed, and I'm glad you shared your story. Shared your past, because I think we do have most of our students, especially with the inner city schools, that will have similar backgrounds and will relate on a different level than what a lot of our programs have in place right now. Unfortunately, I just wish we really could just get in there and just give you what you needed. But we'll do what we can. I know I will make some calls and support you, and it is a process. But I don't want you to give up. Because we need it. We need it. got you. We did have a school board member slip in the back during our meeting, and I think having that dialogue with us and the school board member, just to see what possibilities can happen. We never can say no. Anything can happen. And I really applaud your initiative in taking this on, because we need more people to do that within our own community and invest in our children. Because if we don't, nobody else will. So I'm a firm believer of that. I don't know. I'm really impressed. I'm in awe right now with that. But thank you for your presentation. Thank you.
Ms. Hurd.
Thank you. I'm not going to repeat what has already been said, but if you need my help, just call me. I do plan to help sponsor, and do whatever I can, because there are many guys, not young ladies, but guys, who respect me today. They might have their pants down, but when Mrs. Hurd walks up, they are up. And that's what I left with them when they came through me. Anyway, getting back to the agenda, going back to the minutes of the last meeting and reading over them, I must say that things went wow somewhere. But I am speaking of the Johnson Service Station. I am very disappointed. I have read over and over the minutes, and things that he stated would take place have not taken place. And you all know me, I'm going to call it like it is. The place looks like Congo out there somewhere, but it's not representing Midtown. We did indicate and made a motion for him to put up the canopy. And that other little orange thing that was there, I thought it would be removed. And it's not removed. I talked about beautification up there. Nothing has been done. And I would like to see that old canopy removed this week. I would love to see it. And I'm not going through the minutes and everything, but he did say some things that he's not holding up to. And the next time anyone comes to this board, I will make sure that I am listening 110%. 110%, because he is not living up to his words that was mentioned. Also, speaking of the YMCA, I'm very disappointed there also. When the original YMCA was up for sale, for grabs, as far as Pat Hurd is concerned, the city should have purchased that land on Derbyshire. The city should have purchased that land on Derbyshire. It has been purchased, but nothing has been done. Now we are trying to build and maneuver all around the building. There we had a swimming pool, land, everything. And I heard the other day that it's left up, the last word is the city manager. I don't know. But if it is, I would like to know also. And I can see why things were sort of swaying during election now. Okay? But I am very disappointed that the YMCA will be using the Midtown Center. I'm very disappointed. Also, those of you who have not been out to the Yvonne Scarlett Golden Center, which it should have been built in Midtown, where she was born, raised, educated, and worked, and church. It should have been built in the Midtown area, you know, somewhere from Fremont to Orange Avenue. If you don't know, you ask. And they should have asked us. But I know the story, what was going on. If you were there Saturday, you would have heard part of it. But that's okay. The center is a beautiful center, and hopefully it will be utilized. But if the cost is too high, it won't be utilized. And as I stated earlier, I passed by there this week since Saturday. No one is out there. You dedicating a new building, glass. No one is out there using it. Not even an office. Money that could have been used for MLK, right, Mrs. Johnson? That's it. Okay. I would also like to have the workshop, and there are many questions concerning the CRA also. And one of the questions would be, who are the members on the board? Now, if it's the city commissioners and the manager and the mayor, who do we go to when we don't agree with the commissioners about CRA? So there are many questions to be asked, and hopefully they will answer it. And if you don't ask, you won't know. And Pat Heard's motto is, I will show up, speak up, and will be heard. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Now, we need to decide on a time, preferably next month, to have that workshop. Now, I see a lot of y'all frowning up, but y'all asking for the workshop.
Thank you.
Let's get it done. You understand? And what we can do is you guys can email the information, your dates, to Mr. Bryant, and that way we can coordinate what's going to work for everybody.
July.
Yeah, July.
But not the last week, definitely not the last week.
Email your information to Mr. Bryant, and we can coordinate it. Yes, and Ms. Johnson, I agree with you 150% about MLK. One of the things that I've been also pushing for is to start getting the infrastructure to bring in high-speed internet in the area. Yes. The paving of MLK is going to take place. I will tell you that now. It will take place. We are in the process of getting some things going. Some things have been held up by the process that it has to go through. But because of the situations with the CRAs and some of the other things that are taking place, I think you're going to start seeing some things happen a lot more in a more timely manner to do some things so that we can see some differences. I do want to thank Ms. Powers and Ms. Roundtree for a fantastic presentation and for coming forth with a solution to a major problem that we do have. And as you all already know, I'm backing you 100%. Anything I can do, you know I'm there for you. We're going to see this thing come into fruition. Piggybacking on what Mr. McGee said about the gateway to our city, I'm still appalled that the engineers with the Department of Transportation can put a median down the middle of Granada Avenue that is much more narrow than International, and they're saying they can't put one on International.
Amen.
It comes a point where some things just begin to look blatantly obvious to me. And I don't like to say it that way, but I mean, I call a spade a spade. We can, if International is wider than Granada, why can't there be a median put down International to beautify International? Those are things that I know take place on the state level, but we need to have some input. We need to be able to say, look, y'all have already cut off the communities with the medians down Ridgewood. So what's so terrible about putting a median down International? Y'all know how to put medians up. But we need to beautify our community. All of it cannot be done by individuals. Some of it is the city, the county, and the state have to do. We do know that the situation with Orange Avenue is somewhat being rectified. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, we're still on course for that to happen in December, for the building to begin on that, the work to begin. I appreciate, Reed, you getting that information, some information about the flooding that was going on, because we do need to make a difference in what's going on in our community. One of the things that bothers me also is the fees that are being asked for facilities in the Midtown area, when over, if I'm not mistaken, the last statistics that I saw, 65% of Midtown area are under or unemployed. How can they pay the monies that are being asked for the facilities if they have no way of making those payments? And for the facility to sit empty is a waste of money. We have a beautiful facility right there at the Midtown Cultural Center that we wanted to have things like the dance studio. There is a dance studio in there. There is a recording studio in there. And these things are not being manned because the funds are not there. So why not lessen the fee to do something to get people in there that know what they're doing to make a difference in the community, rather than just have a building sitting there beautifully. In my background, I tell people all the time, doesn't matter what your edifice looks like, the church is the people that go there. The building doesn't make a difference. If you don't believe it, you look down at George's place. We know what that used to be, and now there's a church in there. We have community centers that are state of the art, and we have community centers that would be second to none any place in this country. But if we don't have the community in the community center, it's not a community center. So we've got to do something about that. The last thing I want to mention is that we are a community that has to pull together. The squeaky wheel is the one that gets the oil. I have no problem with you coming down. Anybody listening, come down to Midtown board meetings. They are the second Tuesday of every month, right here. Come down, voice your opinions. We need to hear what Midtown wants. Now, once something has already been decided, don't come then saying we didn't want it, because it's too late. I agree, there's some things that can be done differently. But if people work with us to make a difference while we're in the process of planning, it's a lot easier to change directions with the plan than to tear up what's already put there to put something new. Please, ma'am, please, sir, come out and help us. We are inviting all of the organizations in Midtown to come out, have input. The way that we can make differences in our community is for people to come out. We appreciate you coming out today as one of our business owners to come out and let us know that you're in support. Everybody in the audience, we're glad to see you there. I'm not going to put our school board member on the spot. We already put our city commissioner on the spot. She knows she's all right with me. But we do appreciate the work that you're doing. Mr. Shanks, we thank you for being here. We thank you, Mr. Berger, Attorney Gross. And y'all know what? We got one of the best secretaries out there, don't we? Yes. She does a lot of hard work, and we appreciate you. And all the board members, I thank you for coming out. But if there is no further business, we're going to adjourn the meeting because I want to go watch the game.